she's watching
2
a
bottles
tablet.
of wine in and no fucking marshmallows.
Oh, I can't even feel my face anymore, Nick. Anyway, welcome and thank you so much for everyone for your time this evening by the fire. That is a good sitting fire,
That is a
brother.
good sitting fire.
That
Still
is
no
nice.
fucking marshmallows.
Where's the s'mores?
This guy.
I'll do better next time, I
Thanks
promise.
for stopping by, everyone.
Yeah, hi. This episode we're going to talk about the price of food. The price, listen to me, the price of food.
Price of food. Do you know one thing, Morgan?
One thing, yes.
Just one
the
thing.
one.
Just the one thing. I've got one thing. I was looking through over some old menus, from when I first started cooking. And
Is that season?
no, this is way back. This is way back. This is Vines.
Vine.
Vines. I
What's
don't know if anyone remembers Vines.
Tell
Yeah.
us about
Is it Nelson?
man.
Underground.
Yeah,
Hereford
underground.
Street.
So there was two restaurants in Christchurch. One was called Vines and one was called Trigatti's, and they were the only two places that were open after 11 o'clock in the city. They had restaurant licenses.
AKA cool.
I was working in
And-
Americanos, so
Oh,
that
there
was
you go.
also
Yeah.
open later.
Is that where all the hospital people went after?
Yes.
they finished?
Yes,
Yeah.
Americanos.
Yeah. So and I was looking over an old menu that I found from there, and the prices that we charge now are basically the same that we were charging then, and this is.
A while ago.
Brings a
few
little
decades.
bit of bile.
32 years?
32 years ago.
Somewhere
33 years ago.
So while the prices of just
Holy.
the
Well, you
vegetable,
think
the ingredients have gone up.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think, the cauliflower is still basically probably about the same price.
Right.
You
I
know,
remember
like
charging $35 for effectively like a surf and turf
Yep.
main at El Felice's in 1997.
Let's not beat around the bush. That's Stanmore Road, right?
No.
Where was
No,
that?
it was Litchfield Street, upstairs. Come
Corrected.
Yeah. I remember
Sorry.
the day when we decided
Before my
that
time.
Jim Beam was not okay for BYO.
Jim.
Oh,
Crates of
harsh.
Spades was still okay.
Crates of space.
They are still okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just have you know.
Space.
Thank you very much.
Woman's
So,
Weekly Italian
I mean,
desserts was-
comparatively, like,
Oh my
you think
Lord.
of what a house cost 30 years ago.
Beating around a step.
It's probably not the same
I don't-
price.
I don't know, I wasn't alive
There'd
30
be
years
few
ago.
places in
absolutely.
New Zealand where a house that you could buy 30 years ago would be the
there
same.
would be no places,
Yeah.
Johnny Schwass.
Yeah.
Gold.
And there's probably not that many people earning the same amount of money that they were earning 30 years ago. The minimum wage 30 years ago was not $20. So how does this model work? Like from a...
We
I
had
don't know.
less restaurants, less fine dining. You only had 2 places, and it was
Yeah.
more of a special occasion. And as we broaden that, the competition has become greater, and therefore people have made less money and tried to survive on smaller margins.
Exactly.
So because of the barrier of entry being too low, until we raise that barrier of entry, and there are less places and less competition, therefore we can afford to pay people greater wages, charge higher prices. Therefore, people can actually earn a wage and make more money.
It was also like 30 years ago.
We're done here. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Mike Pam!
Man
Hang on.
with the wisdom.
Drop that, mate. Drop that, mate.
Hey, but that isn't neoliberal capitalism, mate.
back
That
then the
isn't
only-
letting the market decide, you
No,
know?
the market-
That's communism.
Fish and chips were the only fast food, and you had to go there and pick them up. You could not drive through any fucking fish and chips.
Uber
shop.
that
Hasn't
shit.
Dimitri's always existed? Dimitri's has
Okay,
always
yeah.
existed.
Dimitri's
There was not
and
a
fish and
time
chips,
before
yeah.
Dimitri's.
Yeah.
Dimitri's
But
was, he was messing
people-
with Patroclus
there
and
was
fucking
life.
Troy, man.
People
Like,
didn't
he was
cheap.
always
People
there.
people never. They didn't cheap eat then, and there was probably no coffee culture either. There was no you didn't.
Fucker, you were upstairs at the at the Copper Pot. Like you were in New Regent Street doing
Yeah.
the dirty
But,
coffee.
but you didn't have
my time.
the way people spent money on food was very different. You
You had a special occasion,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think we've got used
It
to
is
having
special.
a little bit shit, a little bit better. It's
More
it's like I'm going to have a bottle of wine on Thursday night because I want to watch My Kitchen Rules and I don't want to think about what a fucking awful husband I've got. So I'm going to go buy a $9.99 bottle of 5
Yeah.
Blacks.
Sorry, Jess, you're a lovely husband.
But we can't
He is
afford to go and
gorgeous.
spend
Oh God, she is.
Yeah, but you do that, but I can't afford to spend $50 on a bottle of really nice things for my birthday. So
No.
a $50 bottle is way too much.
Well, because you can buy it for $9.
Yeah,
Why would you buy 50?
So we go for the constant amount of cheap shit. It was like, you know what, I'm going to buy the fucking Tuscan mixed grain loaf because it's a little bit better, but I can't fucking afford to buy a handmade baguette that's actually serious, it's actually going less but higher quality instead of we just always need to indulge constantly to fill the anxieties shaped hole in my soul. But it's
Deep.
This is where
sorry.
the marketing,
No, I love it.
the marketing
Yeah.
crevice is being filled, like it's filling the gap between consumers
That's a
and
very
producers.
good description of marketing.
Yeah,
It's a constant crevice filler.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the thing is, I
and-
think people spend money on food a lot more often than they used to.
Yeah.
You know, like people 30 years ago, you'd buy food once a week, maybe,
yeah,
and
If that.
and you'd have food in your garden,
You'd
and
produce your own food.
and someone would give you food. There'd be food around and
Yeah.
things, and then.
Yeah.
But now it's like the way that people spend 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day will spend some form of income on a coffee, a sandwich, a pie, a bitty, some sort of lunch for their kids, something else. People spend money on food
yeah.
over the course of a week.
It's all easy. It's all justified.
Yeah.
You got
$50 for a
someone-
main course that's really memorable on an amazing night out on a
Yeah.
special occasion is way too fucking much. But $50 for 10
Flat
pretty
white.
awful fucking lattes across the space of 2 weeks is not.
Yeah.
I just think that's where you get into that celebration of moment. Actually going, you know what, I am genuinely celebrating something.
That's experience that steps beyond food. But I need to just make this all real for you, because from where I'm sitting, it is incredibly tenuous, the continued existence of good food. So food that is grown in soil locally by people who give a shit
With some nutritional value.
with
Preferably.
some nutritional value.
Yeah.
Like, they are the true heroes. Like,
Yeah.
they are facing massive agricultural risk.
Mm-hmm.
They are not getting any more for the cauliflower
Yes,
than
they're still
in
probably
the
getting
Vines days.
They're probably getting $1.87 like they did in the Vines days.
And,
know?
and their land's under threat by subdivision. Now we're taking our best lands in New Zealand.
Well,
Ridiculous.
they're all going to cash out to build they're going to farm townhouses
but we're an
and
economy
pine
based on
forestry,
houses,
you
not on
know.
actually making shit.
I know. So there's a really important job right now to champion those people who see a future in growing food. And if we don't
for
do
other
that,
people.
if we don't do
Yeah.
that, we are staring down the barrel of the hydroponic underground city warehouse lettuce thing. That's a thing. That's an
Yeah.
actual thing.
Yeah,
And
Blade Runner hydroponics.
and
It's-
we don't, our bodies aren't designed to live off that.
No.
You know, they're designed to
it's-
live
well,
off
that's-
real food grown in actual soil. That's the history of our digestive system. So, yeah, I think there's a job here to do for hospitality to find their growers and to intimately be connected with them. And I want to see that a lot more. I can see it happening overseas, and it's not happening fast enough here. The really good chefs I know have connected with people who are growing food or who
And
have
have always done that.
done their
Yep.
are doing or are growing their own food as an extension of their restaurant business. But I want to see a lot more of that because it scares me. Really? Yeah.
But what about the individual, like the person that doesn't go to a restaurant very often, that doesn't necessarily know all the chefs that grow all the food and do all the stuff, and doesn't possibly, I don't want to belittle what we do, but doesn't live in our reality. That's how do we get those people really good nutritionally dense food without them just sitting in their car driving through McDonald's because it's easy to feed the family for $20 and it's 6 o'clock. Everyone's grumpy. They're all driving home from school, after school care, after school programs, after school everything else, and the kids are doing longer days than the parents are, because the kids get dropped off at 7 o'clock in the morning and get picked up at 6 o'clock at night because the parents have to work, and then they get the most easiest, convenient, fastest form of food that they can. Then how is that sustainable? It's basically we're heading into that sort of awful matrix abyss where everyone's just going to be eating the green sloop that's pumped out of the gun at 7 o'clock every night.
There's a
While they watch Masterchef.
there's an idea that I'm not really sure
While they watch
about.
me and Julia cook
yeah.
really delicious things. They go, oh, look how great that
It
is.
is pretty clear. The more people watch food TV, the worse food they eat at home.
Yeah.
That's a clear thing.
Is it?
No, seriously, like it's
Do
amazing.
people not try and
100%.
emulate the smear and the...
No, they
and
sit there eating fucking their awful, like, truffle flavoured chips or whatever it is, because, like, I'm so foodie. Because, like,
But how good?
it's just it's a pile of wank.
Pile of wank.
This
No, here's-
episode is not sponsored by Masterchef.
This is brought to you by Pile of Wank.
Yeah. So, here's my idea that I'm
Canterbury wine.
really
The,
interested
the
in.
new North Canterbury wine.
Not
Sorry.
suitable for wine. Here's the idea that I'm really interested in. In terms of the food production that we've got going on at the moment, we've got an idea that we need to be able to provide enough food for the world. So these sort of big agribusinesses, no, we need to keep on doing this because otherwise the world will starve. We can't keep on producing this thing. We have a growing population. We've
got to feed everyone. We've got to
feed everyone.
We've got to be the mother.
Yeah, well,
Hence the very source of Angela's, like...
Yeah, so we've got this
nervousness
thing,
and mine.
right? So we've got this idea that we need to keep on doing these things. We need to make connections with these. We need to produce more big food. And on the other hand, we've got this making more connections with small farmers who are near us with, they're growing multiple crops. It's not a monoculture. There's all these ideas here.
The farmers.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But then enters the hospitality idea. So let's say I can go and get these little bits and pieces of the farm. The efficiencies of doing this across billions of us breeding fucking cockroaches across the world that are humans, what really gets me, Jess and I signed up, my wife and I, hello darling, signed up for HelloFresh in terms of being really time poor and stuff and getting it. And it was just crap that they put in plastic that I could have got from the supermarket and charged me more to give me a recipe card with it, right? And
I can't believe you did that. And I can't believe you admitted that
I
you
will say right now,
Wow.
goodbye HelloFresh.
Yeah, but that,
Like, really?
it was like,
Goodbye.
I was sort
But
of
I mean, that just shows that like someone like you
I was
and
sort of,
Jess, who are probably reasonably competent
I know people
food
swear
producers,
by it,
growers, and lovers of
but
food.
Jess is a really good fucking baker. She puts me to shame.
There are
And-
life
but
pressures
you
that,
just
like,
can't
we
find
just
it
No,
in
it's
your
the-
day.
it's the
pay
time
energy.
poor.
You can't find it in your day to cook food.
But the point I'm trying to get at is there is an efficiency that how do you, if you had a fucking soup kitchen or whatever you want to call it, there's a place that actually goes, you know what, I'm going to make 10,000 fucking litres of fish chowder today.
This is the
Yeah.
chicken
Yeah.
recipe.
Right.
This is the
And that's
Dan
what they-
Shanks chicken roast
And this
chicken.
is what they send out and do the thing, and you actually get something that's made that day. You look at the Pret-a-Manger when you're in London, they're making fucking sandwiches 24 hours a fucking day that go through those places. You actually,
Manger.
and it's actually not bad, you know.
Yeah.
But because you've got the economies of scale feeding those sort of people. And here we're going to have how much stuff goes into wastage in our individual fridges because we've got this individual freedom idea that we can go and buy this shit, use half of it, throw the rest away, and it's going to go from there and pick it up to the supermarket and do all this extra fucking travel when we could actually have someone make a huge pot of really lovely fresh stuff that we could pick up. It seems very
It's a whole
communist
food
that we're
waste
all going to be
thing as
eating,
well,
eating
you know,
fucking
so-
gruel at the same time
Yeah.
every day while we watch our,
Shoe and
My Kitchen
shoelace.
Rules.
Well, we
I'm all for
pitched
it.
this. Johnny and I pitched this during lockdown to the government.
So
Like
good.
we had a whole plan,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, it was
like
What mass scale production?
No,
IKEA
hospitality.
Yeah.
Hospitality was
Is it
out of work, and there were hungry people. So we
What do you do?
thought
You
we
cook a
just
big
matched
pot of soup?
hospitality
Yeah.
with the hungry people.
Yeah.
Job done. Everybody's like, what?
That surely
But-
can't work.
No,
Yeah.
but this idea that you would be able to create a meal around a roast chicken, and then there would be instructions with what to do with the leftovers, and then there would be instructions with what to do with the stock
Yeah.
to create 3 meals out of this one chicken, and you go to a central
why you
point
have
to
a
get
Greek
your
grandmother
chicken.
that's
3
Yeah.
meals for 2.
You know,
Baby. Yeah.
and so maybe that's the future of hospitality. Maybe the future of hospitality looks like this cooperative, collective, community version of food where it's not individual plastic wrapped food bags, but rather the central point that's quasi-restaurant, quasi...
Why heat up 1,000 ovens
Cooperative.
when you can
Beautiful.
when you can do one?
Beautiful.
But
Absolutely.
also, like, I mean, you think of like all the franchise businesses, that everyone detests, that are just rampant, and taking everyone's food dollar.
Flyers, $5 per item.
If you took every single restaurant in town and got them all on the same page, and you could go to all of those restaurants on a Tuesday and get the same meal for $6 and take it away, and that would feed you for 3 days, and then you go back to that restaurant on a Friday and sit down in the restaurant Friday and Saturday, then that restaurant would survive. You know, that you don't need to be physically in that restaurant 3 or 4 days a week, hence the whole Uber Eats model.
Yeah.
You know,
The
but
forms are changing.
yeah, so I mean, it's, you know, it's there's ways that all these little restaurants can survive, that people can eat really good food, but it's all about everyone kind of working collectively as well, you know, and, you know, going back to the producers, but you can't then turn that into a big thing where you all buy all the chicken from one place.
That's right. So it's
You know,
about
'cause that doesn't work.
specialty, and it's
Yeah.
a throwback to what Nick said earlier. Like, everyone is trying to do everything, and I found when I work in those places for those employers that those places are often just surviving, and they're
course they are.
definitely not thriving. And when you talk about
Because there's no focus, there's
specialties,
no focus,
Focus?
there's no
I get
direction.
this, I bring this, you can bring that, we bring it, we come together. Like, this to me is just like such an amazing common sense.
You think of the
It's
cost of what you
far
could
too
do.
simple to work, right? But it should, and we should invest in like that. Like, you do the wine, you bring the white maize, bring the media.
But you,
This
you,
dude
you skip all
brings the
extra
charcoal.
costs and things in there, because you actually go, no, I can actually go direct here. I can actually get the stuff en masse. They can support the quality that we need. And
But they're also, like, back to that thing, they're really good at doing this one thing.
Yeah.
Like, if I just had to make ham sandwiches every day, if I could make 600 ham sandwiches
The
and be
best.
profitable, then I'd be happy. I'd make 1,000. I'd make 3,000. I'd make 10,000 ham sandwiches. I don't really give a shit. I mean, I make
could
really
go
good ham
fucking good
sandwiches.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Iggy.
We've got
feel like a
Sam,
ham
and we've got
sandwich.
Sam.
Yeah,
I make really
keeps
good ham. We
mentioning it.
make really good
Soft
ham
white
sandwiches.
bread, a little bit of
No,
We're going off topic. What
That's
makes a good
Rye
fucking
Bread.
Dijon.
ham
let's
what
do
makes
it.
our good ham sandwich is that we use a really good rye bread.
Rye bread.
Yeah, from Grizzly.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
offence taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little mustard,
No.
little mustard mayonnaise.
You make the
What's,
mustard.
what's
We make
fun
the
with that
mustard.
little
So like a
competition?
Dijon.
I don't know.
Competition with that little
Yeah,
fun.
it's Dijonnaise, sort of a really good piece of crunchy cos lettuce from Streamside Organics. So it's an organic piece of lettuce. A good piece of ham from Mr. Peter Tim's, and a simple slice of cheddar cheese.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
all you need.
Ooh, that's
You know, one of
very
the best
debatable.
restaurant things I've ever had was in Acme restaurant in Sydney, and it was fried mortadella
Yeah,
with homemade ketchup on like a potato dinner roll, like sort of like a, you know, the sort of buttery.
Everyone loves a sandwich, man. I mean,
It's
come
just
on.
fucking
dinner rolls.
it's SEGG and tomato sauce, like, you know.
Exactly.
You've got
Yeah.
like a
SEGG so
salty
much.
cheese with
Is SEGG just
salty
dog
ham.
food?
Yeah.
Talk me
No,
through it,
it's
because the
sausage
ham
and
is
egg.
also
Is
sweet,
it?
It's
right?
luncheon.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I
My
better
mum used to
backtrack.
give me
Yeah,
I never
Ham
knew
ham
what
is also
SEGG
sweet.
meant.
I used to get like date, walnut, and feta fucking filled pita bread, and I'd trade them for SEGG and tomato sauce sandwiches.
I traded my SEGG. It was
Trying so
probably
hard
to
be a
you.
Kiwi.
Yeah.
Give me that.
It was like,
I
get me the heck out of
SEGG
SEGG.
in the
have learned
fucking
something
plastic
today.
roll.
Sausage and egg. Yeah, that's incredible.
You are going to have to put
That's
an
my takeaway from that.
an R18 on this episode, by the way.
Why? Just because of SEGG or because of the swearing?
That was quite
Did we swear?
That's
No,
okay.
SEGG is R18. It's not actually.
Yeah, yeah.
A
Is it
full
a
roll of
food
SEGG,
item?
that is R18.
It's not a food item.
If you can fit a whole set, nah, just. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to stop there. If you have enjoyed this, please give this video a like and make sure you subscribe to State of It. Yeah.
Double likes.
Thank you all very much for your time and for your amazing input to this,
off to get some
this
SEGG.
crazy old thing. Yeah. Next time, get some SEGG. You should buy some too. Tell us about it, and we'll see you next time.
Can you buy SEGG?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
Well, I don't know if it's called SEGG. Bye.
Bye.
Was it Hutton? Who made
Huttons.
Huttons,
Huttons,
yeah.
yeah.
SEGG.
We had some SEGG the other day.
No, that wasn't SEGG, it was luncheon.